Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? Matt here with YoVideogames, and I've got a kind of an interesting review today, and that's for Sea of Stars. Now, I'm going to do this a little differently. This is a immediate post-mortem reaction to the credits. Credits had just rolled on the true ending to this game, and I basically, rallied off every talking point regarding graphics, regarding music, regarding gameplay, especially, and design, in this sort of like post-game discussion. So this is like my immediate feelings. Now, here's the other thing I want to stress on this video is that it's going to be a spoiler-filled video because honestly, some of the things I wish to talk about critiquing-wise regard heavily to do with spoiling. So it will have to be, unfortunately, if you're looking for a quick recommendation, yes, I recommend this game. I give it a 9.5 there. I spoiled the end of my own video in my spoiler-filled video for you. So if that's all you want to know, go get the game. But otherwise, if you want to hear my detailed thoughts and impressions on every aspect of the game, please enjoy this post-mortem of Sea of Stars after rolling credits. I like the gameplay philosophy here, where it's very much just about it's mostly just about skill-based, quick thinking, for like breaking locks. Not a lot of low-level cap, you level slowly. It's really not about leveling. Things stay dead after you kill them. No random encounters. Encounters you have to reset the world on the world map to reset enemies. I like that a lot about it. I think the philosophy's great. I think, obviously, graphically phenomenal. I think probably thing that doesn't get enough credit is how many different areas there are in the game. Like there is a surprisingly large variety of environments in the game. Like a really big, good amount of environments in the game, and I think that's worth mentioning. And I think it probably doesn't get brought up as much as it probably should. But more just there's so many different places, and they don't feel repetitive. There's like one copy paste boss, and they even use it as a meta in-game joke, so that's also very good. I mean, obviously the interactivity with the environment is very key here. It very much feels alive. It does what HD 2D can't really do, and that is make a cohesive art style and make everything feel like it's all part of the same universe rather than it's sprites on polygons, which always just feels weird to me. And yeah, obviously musically it's very good, exceptional even. A lot of great tracks by Eric. Really was like, really stepped up, knocked it out of the park. We don't get to see a lot of you just don't see a lot of indie devs or Western devs even attempt something like this. And it was really nice to see Western composer like Eric come out and step up to the plate and knock it out. Like, hey, I'm going to do a lot of tracks. I'm going to do a lot of variety. It's going to be constant music playing. But more importantly, it does something that Super NES games could never do, which is have a lot of remixes of tracks, where like the music will change dynamically to where day to night, and it'll change depending on where you are in the world. I'm going to have more synthesizer style remixes when we're in like this a ruined future world. So really good stuff there. Obviously, all the Mitsuda stuff is really good. No complaints. There's like one area in the game which I was a little meh on the music. Technically, too, the story was actually pretty good. It starts out a little slow. It kind of has almost a Breath of Fire feel, where it's like, man, this is a slow burn. But not so much a slow burn, but more of like, here's this really basic save the world plot line. And it goes on for, a few hours, for a few hours, and you're like, okay, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's a little basic. And then the twists really start coming in, and like you really start to like get into it, because like it really starts going places you don't really expect, and that's actually really fun. Yeah, really picks up after the Dweller of Woe. I'll say this: I think the ending is I think they stumble a bit on the ending. It feels a little anticlimactic. There's a lot of stuff at the end of the game that feels really just thrown in there. Everything with the bird tribe. You go into the castle and you fight like a couple bosses like that you have no fucking connect. One boss you've never seen before at all. The other boss was seen briefly in Sarai's backstory. But you really know nothing about the Soul Curator, and it's just like, okay, I guess this is a thing. And then, yeah, just the whole... It feels like there was set up to some sort of payoff that doesn't come, both for Aforel and for Brugrovs and you know, the other chick who you do fight in the normal ending. There is sort of a kind of a payoff because it ties into the messenger a little bit, but like, it feels very weird how Rashawn dips out in the last quarter of the game because it feels like there's an important thing he has to do, and he just shows up at the end to walk away with the bad guy because they were good friends in the past. It's a little... It feels a little weird. It feels a little... And then, like, the big World Eater thing, it's like, it's a cool victory lap, but it feels very just... This happens. Cool. I guess. Like, it doesn't feel like that was the ending they were building up to. Like, it feels like there, like, and like, feels like there should have been a little bit more something there. That's like my, that's kind of like my one sort of like tiny complaint. The other complaint I kind of have is that I was a little like, the ending theme is fine, but it's not to Faraway Times, and it's not even close. I was kind of really hoping for something a little bit more like, I don't know. The ending theme was fine, but it wasn't like, you know, the oh my god, like I'm on the verge of tears kind of track I was hoping for. That's a very small minor nitpick. And then the other nitpick I have is that Valere and Zale are fine, but they're not hyper interesting. Garl is the heart and soul of the story, and Valere and Zale are, again, for the most part, fine. They're somewhere on an in-between. They're in between having a character with like all kinds of faults and arcs and you know, personal trials and tribulations you have to go through, and a silent protagonist. They're somewhere in the middle. They're a little blank, and it's fine. It doesn't ruin the experience. It's a bit of a nitpick, and I've never been one. I've never really been a personal. I've never personally enjoyed stories about chosen ones. Chosen ones, and then they become the super uber awesome man. And that's kind of what happens here. I think this is something I notice a lot more. I guess actually that's not true. I won't even say that. But like, anytime a story is about like the super duper chosen one, you know, who becomes the like supreme Lord Kai in the end or whatever, which is, you know, I'm the incarnation of the super uber duper god, you know, to defeat the evil god to win the day with the power of friendship. I've never been a fan of Chosen One storylines or protagonists, and it doesn't hurt it and it doesn't ruin it or any way, but it's also kind of like, okay, yeah, Chosen One stuff it's fine, but it always feels like stakes are higher, things are more dire. Bars. It feels like shit hits harder when you have someone who stepped up who was just a fucking Joe Schmo. There was no fucking chosen one. You know, there was no Deus Ex Machina behind it. I'm not the chosen warrior to save the world. I'm just the guy who stepped up. It's why I like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit so much. Like, why are they like my favorite stories? Because they're just about fucking good-natured folks who went through hell by their own volition because they're the guy who stepped up. So that is Garl, though, and again, Garl is the heart and soul of the story. But you know, Garl exists because the chosen ones. In some super ooper duper, you know, it's a cool little bonus true ending. I like all of that stuff, but yeah, it's with the main characters. My minor nitpick is I've not really been never been a huge Chosen One storyline fan. It seemed like there was a lot of cool setup, and the payoff wasn't quite the grand slam at the end. It feels a little rushed and anticlimactic at the end, a little bit. Like a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. And yeah, like I was... And that kind of like falls in line with like, the credits music is fine. I think the problem they had with the ending theme was that you had to have an ending theme that could loop for 2 hours. So by nature, it doesn't have this sort of, here's a fucking tearjerker ending song. You know, here's like a sort of like cool hype music that we can loop for literally hours on end. I mean, I guess the one way you could have had the ending theme and then had the looping song as you go through all the backers and credits. So I kind of get what's going for, and I think they wanted to break up all the credits and all the backers credits with those little segments, you know, they show mid-credits. So they didn't want it to just be this giant, massive text scroll. Again, I would say this was a 9.5. Very good. Very, very good. It's shockingly in a way how like this is much better than Final Fantasy 16, and I was on board. I was a cheerleader for 16 from the beginning, but like this was a better game. Like I pretty much figured this was gonna be good. I was just worried about, would the story remain interesting throughout? Would it have enough twists and turns? And it did. It did. Like, yes, I have my kind of gripes about how sort of like fast-paced the ending is. Characters kind of like show up like, I'm important now. Okay? Like with the bird guy. The fact that, 16 is a game where that I actually went out of my way to do all the battles in the game, defeat all the enemies, all the high-level stuff, which I can't say I do that willingly in any Final Fantasy. I think I did it in 7, maybe, but like, that's because 7 you could abuse the shit out of materia. It absolutely exceeds it in graphics, obviously, and I think the battle system is better than Chrono Trigger. And I think the world is more interactive. I think in that sense, I don't think the story or characters are better in Sea of Stars than Chrono Trigger. I don't think that's true. And the music, it's weird because in a sense it's absolutely better because there's way more music, there's way more dynamic music. But as far as like the raw compositions, I might say Chrono Trigger has more bangers than Sea of Stars. But it's more of a testament to how close it is rather than is this one better than the other. It's like, well, like look, buddy, like one's like the best soundtrack of all time, and this gets shockingly close to it. Yeah, Chained Echoes is awesome. I think this game held my attention much more than Chained Echoes was. Chained Echoes suffered heavily from pacing and level design issues, which this game does not have. And that's another thing I think needs to be praised, is holy shit, did this game figure out how not to fuck up a level design. Make it just as long as it needs to be, not anymore. Easily gonna be top 5, probably top 3 somewhere. We still have other games to play. There's still a lot of other games to come out this year, but it's a very high bar, in a year of high bars. We have games like, we have Hi-Fi Rush, we have Resident Evil 4 Remake, we have Street Fighter 6, we have, even other, we've had other big, really good indie games that showed up on Game Pass, amongst other stuff. I think that like how well paced and how good the level design is just, it's something that I think will get lost in people will talk about how good it looks, how great it sounds, and those are all true. They'll debate whether or not the merits of having a battle system primarily focused on timing-based attacks rather than min-maxing stats, because there is really no min-maxing of stats in this game, and I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that. But yeah, I think what's going to get lost is like the amount and variety of environments and how well paced the environments are. No environment or dungeon ever feels like it overstays its welcome. It never does that, and that's, to me, is the craziest, highest bar I can give this game. Is the dungeons do not overstay their welcome, and the environments don't overstay their welcome. Even the last boss's dungeon isn't really that bad at all. Either way, loved this game. Might be your RPG GOAT. It might be. I mean, might be. I don't know if I'd say GOATy, but yeah, loved this game. Would recommend it. It's on Game Pass. It's on PlayStation Premium Extra, whatever. On every, be able to purchase on everything. I mean, enjoying the shit out of this game. I think you guys should all go play it.